The Scum Villain's Self-Saving System. Chapter 8. Audio source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 8. TN. More sarcasm this chapter. Lol. Also, changed a term. That false cultivation technique Mingfan gave to Luo Bing'er will now be called Cultivation Manual. I think it's a more accurate translation. And the Immortal Assembly Conference will now be Immortal Alliance Conference instead. This chapter may need to be edited later. An opportunity only lasts for a moment. Shen Qingqiu's pupils contracted. Just when that palm was striking down, an unexpected happening like the doings of gods and ghosts occurred. A ceiling beam broke. If Shen Qingqiu was still only a reader of proud immortal demon way, after reading to here, he would throw down his cell phone and curse up a torrent of abuse like dog's blood. The system already stated that the eternal, ironclad rule is that the protagonist will not die. That is to say, if anything threatens the protagonist's life, a death flag will be triggered. Shen Qingqiu purposefully instigated Butterfly to attack Luo Bing'er just to utilize this ironclad rule and borrow a knife to kill someone. Though doing things this way wasn't very upright, Luo Bing'er won't be in any danger at all. Even if something happens, Shen Qingqiu will take responsibility and fix things himself. Currently he's dropping Luo Bing'er into a hole, but if he takes the long view, there are still opportunities in the future to regain good favor. But, airplane towards the sky, what are you treating the intelligence of your readers as? How can a perfectly magnificent new mansion suddenly experience a broken ceiling beam? Even if it's to let the protagonist escape with his life, this turn of events is too stiff and unnatural. Bad writing. That almost entirely new ceiling beam was unbiased and just happened to smash onto Butterfly, almost laying her flat on the ground, unable to get up. It also just happened to bring down the pillar that Luo Bing'er and Ning Yingying were tied to. Ning Yingying had already been scared dizzy earlier. Luo Bing'er struggled and the bindings miraculously loosened. On the other hand, Shen Qingqiu was still bound by the binding immortal cable, watching Luo Bing'er stand near the fallen Butterfly in silence. Just like this, things are concluded. Even as he thought this, Butterfly flipped the ceiling beam and sprang up. She furiously said, "Shen Qingqiu, Kangqiong Mountain sex people are truly base and shameless, full of schemes. What kind of twisted method did you use to harm me from behind?" Shen Qingqiu was very innocent. This wasn't his business, truly. The person who suffered the most was probably Luo Bing'er. Butterfly unforgivingly said, "So you were purposefully tricking me, trying to divert my attention and sneak attack. How else would a perfectly good ceiling beam like this fall down, and right on top of me too? You've also noticed the unreasonable execution of events. Doesn't this mean your intelligence can still be saved?" Shen Qingqiu's heart was a little hopeful. Butterfly laughed coldly. "You think something like this is enough to stop me? Dream on. Unless it's cut with an immortal treasure sword, binding immortal cable won't break. Normal means won't open it. Just praise you and you said something stupid again. Please don't talk about how to release your enemy. Also, are you afraid I'll miss seeing where you put the Xia sword? You even took special care to pull back your cloak and show where it's sticking out from your waist, patting it." Shen Qingqiu couldn't stand it anymore. He took some time to talk with the system. "That's stupid. I have to ask, do all the villains walk this kind of path?" The system said, "To ensure that you will smoothly pass this beginning checkpoint mission after activating easy mode, the villain's intelligence level has been set below average." Shen Qingqiu strongly approved. Thanks. I want to say that your easy mode's design is really too easy to use. Good product, good product. Butterfly gritted her teeth and said, "This time no matter what you say, I won't listen anymore. Accept your death, Xiāng Tóngxiù." Xiāng Tóngxiù shouted, "Last word." Under the might of easy mode, Butterfly stopped to listen. "What else did you want to say?" Xiāng Tóngxiù thought for a moment, then asked, "How's the taste of sleeping with an old man in his 60s? Quote, while Butterfly's face twisted, her entire body trembling, Luo Bing'er suddenly advanced from behind. He divested Butterfly of the Xia sword hanging at her waist, drawing the sword and illuminating the room with snow-white light. A silver shadow passed and the binding immortal cable on Xiāng Tóngxiù was broken. Really can only blame this mini-boss's intelligence under easy mode for being below average. Luo Bing'er was standing right behind her. "She's sure to die," Butterfly exclaimed. "This is impossible. Enough. I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen to the boss's final words before dying." Xiāng Tóngxiù pulled at his spiritual power, summoning it in his right hand, and struck out his palm, hitting Butterfly's chest. She flew out like a broken stringed kite. This is Xiāng Tóngxiù's first time making a move to kill. But he didn't hesitate at all. Because firstly, this is a novel. Secondly, this was a demon that had killed countless people. Thirdly, if he didn't make a move then he would have been the one to die. Xiāng Tóngxiù looked at the butterfly's twisted limbs, a horrible sight as blood flowed from all 7 apertures, overly beaten. He used the 3 reasons listed above to clear his mind and brainwash himself. Luo Bing'er's childish face was mostly white. Xiāng Tóngxiù calmed himself and slowly stood up, garnering composure, and posed as he turned to Luo Bing'er. "Your first time seeing this demon extermination defense. 1. Are you scared stiff?" Pausing, he continued, "If you want to defend, you must exterminate. Single quote quote dot." Luo Bing'er gritted his teeth and blurted out, "Earlier," Xiāng Tóngxiù said, "you want to ask what I planned to do if the ceiling beam hadn't suddenly fallen down earlier." Xiāng Tóngxiù has no choice but to suffer in silence. He really wanted to tell Luo Bing'er to rest his heart. He definitely won't die. The ceiling beam will definitely fall down. But can he? He can only pretend to be lofty and mysterious. This can be counted as blaming this master. Luo Bing'er shook his head and sincerely said, "No. If I can give up my life for Shizun, it would be an honor for this disciple." Xiāng Tóngxiù was shocked at how much he was like a pure white lotus. Xiāng Tóngxiù thought for a while, choosing a more beautiful phrasing. "Then this master will also tell you, even if something happened, nothing will happen to you." This was a big truth. Even if Xiāng Tóngxiù died hundreds upon hundreds of times, the golden-bodied protagonist Luo Bing'er would still be able to live perfectly well. His expression calm and certain, unperturbed without the slightest false appearance. His voice was sonorous as he said, "This fact is definitely not false." Luo Bing'er listened to his words. It was as though he'd been lit up with new vitality. The slightly drooping sunflower from earlier gained a new lease on life. With both hands, he raised the sword and respectfully offered it up to Xiāng Tóngxiù. "Shizun, your sword." Xiāng Tóngxiù took it over. This child's heart right now was truly honest. Though earlier he was dropped so far in a pit that his spirit had flown right out, another turn of events and he was fully revived with his blood pumping. If you're always like this, then how good that would be. Afterwards, he listened to the system's notices, just like a succession of cannon fire, and felt cool enough to overturn the skies. Ning Yingying's good feelings towards you have increased. Protagonist's coolness level plus 50 points. Gained high-level equipment, binding immortal cable. Villain's strength, plus 50 points. Completion of beginning checkpoint mission, plus 200 points. OOC function is unfrozen. From now on, you have full control of the Xiāng account. Congratulations. Please continue your efforts. Xiāng was almost in love with this kind of feeling. It was just like gambling with high stakes. From now on, he can formally embark on the great and glorious career of hugging the male protagonist's thighs. The first task for him after returning to Kangqiong Mountain Sect was to go to the sect's main headquarters at Qiongding Peak 3 and report to Yue Qingyuan. On the way, Xiāng once again felt that this older apprentice brother and sect head's existence was exactly like that of a mission-giving NPC. WuxiaWorldAudio.com. However, this kind of feeling faded without a trace right after he entered the gates. He hadn't even stepped into the lobby when Yue Qingyuan immediately swept over with his Qiongding Peak disciples. They had both just met when his right hand immediately took Xiāng's pulse. For Xiāng was surprised, but then saw Yue Qingyuan hadn't made any other moves and his expression was entirely focused. Immersed in low-level spiritual power, he knew that he was only inspecting his internal state and spiritual flow and calmed down. After seeing that the circulation of his spiritual power was correct and uninjured, Yue Qingyuan let out a breath and smiled. He walked into the main lobby with Xiāng and asked, "How was their strength?" He was just like the eternal big brother back home in behavior and tone, which let Xiāng's heart feel warm. Even the word he had to speak next didn't feel quite so painful. Unsatisfactory. The disciples hadn't even seen a shadow of that demon, Skinner, and everything had been resolved by Xiāng. From the viewpoint of letting the disciples gain experience, it truly was unsatisfactory and not up to expectations. Yue Qingyuan said, "It doesn't need to be rushed." Xiāng nodded and suddenly changed the subject. "Brother sect head, I want to enter seclusion in Qiongding Peak's spirit caves 5 behind the mountain." Qiongding Peak was considered the first among the 12 peaks and naturally has the greatest accumulation of energies from heaven and earth. And the spirit caves at Qiongding Peak are the best place to cultivate, requiring less effort. Therefore, only the more senior sect members or exceptionally talented young disciples can apply to enter the caves for cultivation. Their application to enter can only succeed if they have the sect head's permission. If Xiāng wanted to enter seclusion and cultivate in the spirit caves, of course Yue Qingyuan would accept. He asked, "This is to prepare for the Immortal Alliance conference." Xiāng said, "Just so." Truthfully, it was not only because he need real strength to get by during the Immortal Alliance conference scenario. There are other, more complex reasons. The recent incident with the Skinner had let him become acquainted with the importance of cultivating well. In this world, it was only after attaining strength that he could have the right to think of future events. Also, he really had no words for Yue Qingyuan's behavior towards him. Even if he wanted to reverse the original ending of Xiāng directly killing Yue Qingyuan, Xiāng still had to carefully consider his life afterwards. In the future, he must use a more proactive approach to control the plot. Before seclusion, Xiāng called Luo Binger over and gave him the correct entry-level cultivation manual. Luo Binger received the cultivation manual but still asked, "Shizun, why do you have to give this disciple an entirely different cultivation manual?" Xiāng calmly said, "A bunch of nonsense. Your constitution is somewhat different. You can't cultivate with the regular cultivation manual." He didn't want to reveal so quickly the truth of Mingfang giving Luo Binger a false cultivation manual, even though it would come out sooner or later. He could still delay it a bit. Towards the image of Xiāng's back, Luo Binger held the cultivation manual. His heart was greatly shaken. This was a cultivation manual that Shizun specially gave to him. Shen Qingqiu completely didn't know that Luo Bing'er had such a huge misunderstanding. End chapter 8. One Demon Extermination Defense, pretty much just translated the characters literally. To pure White Lotus, a person referred to as White Lotus is said to be pure and innocent, just like a lotus. This is the traditional meaning of the term and the one used in this novel, not to be confused with the slang version meaning someone's a two-faced broad with good acting skills. 3. Qiongding Peak, meaning is dome peak. 4. Taking pulse. This is a cultivation, traditional Chinese medicine thing. If you're good enough, you can gauge someone's health by taking their pulse. Spirit caves. This sentence gave me fits. Not sure if I translated it right. Shen Qingqiu implies that he wants to enter a spirit cave to cultivate and improve his spiritual power. Spirit cave. Extra note: the Shi character in Shifu, Shizun, and the like are all the same. It means teacher, master. Shen Qingqiu often refers to himself as this teacher, master, using the Shi character. X Wei Shi, I master, teacher. Also, isn't Luo Bing'er the cutest? He just got noticed by Senpai and his heart went doki doki, is stabbed. End chapter.